Let's see. Not our normal live stream hour. We are six. I bet you no one pops in tonight. Probably have 10 people pop in. Is it snowing out? Oh shit, it's snowing out. There's Janie. How are you? What's up, Jager? How are you, my friend? Happy New Year, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. Oh, I can't believe we're getting snow. Yeah, it's snowing here too. And I've got the flu type A. I'm, oh my God, I'm hurting. This is terrible. I'm glad you did, Jager. Oh, my goodness. Isabel sounds even worse than I do. Like, I sound all right because I've had like 6 cups of tea today, and I just took a shower like an hour ago. Oh my God. I got some awesome Lizzo stories tonight. I got some really good experiences to share with you guys. Thank you, Jager. Oh. Happy New Year, though. Holy cow. I can't believe 2026 is already here. Unbelievable. What's up, Harry Griffith? How are you? Happy New Year, my friend. Happy New Year. Delirium, how are you, my friend? That video is amazing, buddy. Amazing video, Delirium. We got Big Jim home. Big Jim is home. I got sick from the goddamn hospital. And then everybody, Bell got sick. I didn't even want to do. I was like, oh my God, I'm hurting so bad today. But there was no, you couldn't pull out. You can't pull out on a live stream when I promise you one, right? Hell, I'd have to like have my leg falling off before I pulled out on a live stream. Yeah, I'm glad he's home. I'm glad he's home. It is delirium. It's a nasty. And you know what's crazy is I got the flu vaccine like a week, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know. And next thing you know, fucking Isabel's got flu type A and laryngitis. So what's up, Cynthia? How are you? Hey, Troy, how are you, buddy? Hopefully Aramik pops in tonight. I know Pups might pop in. Only 29 people. We're also 3 minutes early though. So anybody got any what are they called? New Year's resolutions? Any resolutions for anyone? I'm gonna be 50 this year. So I'm gonna give up vaping sometime this year and start going to the gym. Anthony, how are you, buddy? Large Ogres, how are you? A lot of snow tonight, Troy? I bet you do up there. Aw, thanks, Janie. Whereabouts are you in northern New York, Large Ogre? Brother Delirium, you definitely need to quit smoking ciggies, bro. You need to. What's up, Clint? How are you, buddy? You know what? As long as we've been doing these live streams, every time I say your name, you know exactly what happens. When I right next to the St. Lawrence. Are you in Messina or like Ogdensburg? Where are you? Stacy Lockett, how are you, dear? Nice to see you. Anunska, how are you? Troy's from Messina area too. I'm glad that you're here with us on this New Year's. Minus the cold. A lot of cold sweats, Anushka, and uh, my throat. Obviously, a lot of gook coming out of my face. Today, my body aches like a son of a gun. There's Pops. How are you, dear? I got family that lives up in that area, Large Ogre. Beautiful area. I spent quite. I lived in Messina for like a year. I loved it up there. Yep, yep. I got the flu. Just B, how are you? I hope I start feeling better too, Pops. As long as you're subscribed, OZ Patriot, just subscribe. It's free. That's all that matters, my friend. Hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a cent. It will, Anushka. It will. MJ Bates, how are you? Justin Merritt, yo. David, how are you, my friend? Don't die. I hear you. I hear you. People are fucking assholes driving lately. Have you noticed, like, I don't know if it's like me or where I live, but since the pandemic, more people have been moving north, and it's like my little town of Glens Falls, New York has become like fucking Schmeckville, and all these like losers that don't know how to drive, like they will literally, when it's snowing and icy, I see, going slower, but going too slow is dangerous as well. Um, and then like when it's sunny, but it's 18 degrees and black ice is a thing, they're hauling ass. It's like people are just, I don't know. I'm not going to use the word Elon gave us back, but yeah, they're retarded. uh, Wiley, what's up, my friend? Oh, Glens Falls is a great little town. Great little town. It's centered perfectly, to be honest with you. It's literally centered perfectly. You got Saratoga to the south of us, Lake George to the north of us. It's, the only thing I wish different was my town wasn't in New York State. Other than that, I would be so happy. All right. I couldn't let anyone down. What's up, Sonia? How are you, dear? Happy New Year's. All right, so we got 1 hour till. When I was in 6th grade, I lived in this townhouse near a lake. None of that has anything to do with the scary parts of this experience, but at the time as a kid, I thought it was cool. For weeks, my room's window would be wide open in the middle of the night, closed every single day. My room was always cold. I hated it. Parents couldn't explain it or believe it, so we all know how that goes. I was never in there. Our dog wouldn't even sleep with me. Fast forward, some months our dog gets hit by a car. He never went near the road, ever. My parents fight and split up. I hear my window open by itself. One night, freezing in sheer terror, parents have split. It's just my dad and I left to move out. I no longer sleeping in my room. My dad has to share his bed. Anyway, last night we lived there. I'm in bed and I see this large black dog with red eyes approach my bed, start growling, and then try to bite me in my hand. I instantly jump up. My hand is throbbing because it actually connected. My dad wakes up and gives 2 shizzles because it's in the middle of the night and I'm a kid. Side note, one of the weekends I was at my mom's while my parents were split. My dad had told me to shut my room's windows twice in one night. Had to shut my windows in one night. Well, I want to know what happened to your dad. Like, tell us more about this wound that you suffered, fella. You got bit and your dad didn't look at your wound? I want to know. Does anyone else want to know? I want to know. What's up, Matthew? How are you, buddy? I hear you. You know what the worst part of it is, Large Ogre, is they've made us get semi-automatic hunting rifle licenses now. Crazy Backyard Chicken Man. Jad, how are you? What's up, Nexus? How about a black-eyed person story? In 2013, I moved with my family to a foreclosed 6-bedroom home on 14 acres, straight up in the middle of nowhere in the Poconos. My dad and I noticed very weird things going on the second we moved in, but my mom and sister seemed not to notice these things. Everyone besides me and my dad and the entire family are the "oh, it's just the wind" type of people, if you get what I mean. There is some evidence that the entire area of where the house is located is haunted, as ghosts and Native American burial grounds and things. Now, historically speaking, with actual evidence, people settled here around the old mill area long ago and brutally killed many Iroquois. This area is very spread out over miles and heavily wooded mountains. 2 weeks ago, my uncle on my mom's side and his girlfriend came to visit my parents' home. They do this quite often, as my parents always have people over for beer, games, and bonfires. I just want to start off by saying my uncle is a non-believer, a Harley rider, who to this day, I have never seen him really scared of anything or anyone before this sighting. My uncle and his girlfriend are playing foosball with my parents when they realize it is 12:30 a.m., so they decide to head home. They take all the back roads, and once they turn onto Running Valley Road, 6 minutes from the house, my uncle's girlfriend sees 2 figures. They're pretty far away at this point, but it was 2 small figures waiting to cross the road. Just to mention, there is nothing out here. No houses besides one abandoned that was still 2 miles up the road. Only thing in the vicinity is a cave. These figures are attempting to cross the road and go into the woods, which is very odd because of the time and location. They are now approaching these figures. Headlights start to shine on the direction of them. Both my uncle and the girlfriend see these 2 young girls, about 9 to 11 years old, one much bigger than the other, wearing what my uncle best describes as early 1900s church clothing, like dresses to the knee with white cotton shawls or cropped sweater and flats. Weird, right? WTF are the 2 10-year-olds doing out at 12:30 in the middle of the night in the middle of nowhere wearing church clothing. They also noticed the bigger child had her arms wrapped around the smaller one, like you would do if she was hurt, scared, or cold. At this point, my uncle's girlfriend is like, "It's children. We need to stop and help." Now, at this point, the truck is almost right next to the little girls. Both had their heads down. So the bigger of the 2 girls starts to pick her head up and look at the passing vehicle. Then both my uncle and his girlfriend notice the girl has no eyes, just black holes, as if they were carved straight out of her face. My uncle's girlfriend says, "What the fuck was that? You see that, right? Oh my God, turn around. We got to go back now." My uncle, scared shitless, takes the fuck off flying to get home. They get home and get into an argument because she wants to drive back and see what's up. Grabs her own car keys, and my uncle basically was like, "You're not going back there. We're never going on that road again." He calls my parents in extreme panic, tells them that they start bugging because they know he wouldn't lie or be that freaked out if it wasn't warranted. So my mom starts to tell me everything. Mind you, my family knows nothing of black-eyed children, never heard it before. I sent my mom an article to forward to my uncle with some of the very basic info: young kids, no eyes, dreadful feelings, sometimes outdated clothing, hitchhiking, or at your door looking for help. Now my whole family is bugging out. Sorry for being so long. Just wanted to give you the basic info. Thank you for allowing me to share this. Oh, monkey crap. How are you? Jay Cortez, what's up, buddy? No smoking. How are you? Ethan Fox, how are you, buddy? 175. John Sumner. Okay, I've been waiting for you, Johnny Sumner. So, as many of you, I've been I can't put Vicks on my chest because I don't like anything gooky on my chest. But um, I last night took a shot of NyQuil. It helped me go right to bed. So, John Sumner, I received your gift today. As all of you know, or those of you who don't, when a subscriber sends me a gift, I like to share it with you guys. My way of saying thanks. So, John Sumner, sick blanket. It says cryptozoology on the top of it. I don't know if you guys can see it. And I can't make out what it's supposed to be, John. It almost looks like a phantom kind of picture. But then here's the best thing. My dad, I love my dad. My dad is probably the coolest guy I know. And he retired from the Navy when he was 43 and then worked at the local paper mill here. But when he was in Vietnam, he was in the Brown Water Navy. And John Sumner found a Brown Water Navy pin for my dad. So, John Sumner, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. What's up, AG? How are you? Cora Cortez, how are you? Mindy Weeks, how are you? It is pretty awesome. I hope so too, Ethan. I hope so too. All right. What time is it? We'll do one more experience and then we'll do a Lizzo story. Thank you, AG. You got to send me an email, buddy. I'd love to get you up on here for this year. I want to start doing more interviews this year. I just want to literally, instead of narrating, I just want to do more interviews. So send me an email, please. All right. One more experience before Lizzo. This experience happened around middle school years, so I was around 12 to 13. My mom and I had been downstairs in the living room watching some badly made scary movies when this large humanoid shadow-like entity took shape in front of the TV/entertainment system, walked in front of the windows, which, by the way, so there would be no way for it to be a shadow from outside, and it made its way to the stairs. We were both heard audible footsteps going up the stairs. We both just sat there and looked at each other, then got up and proceeded to look around the house to see if we could find anything that may explain what we just witnessed, but couldn't. My brothers were playing outside. It wasn't one of them. So we chalked it up to being possibly my great-grandmother just checking in on us. Second experience. This encounter happened after I graduated high school, and it took place in a brand new apartment complex that was built earlier that year. It was after Christmas as well, which I had gotten a Ouija board as a gift. Yeah, wonderful gift. As I am a huge fan of the occult and paranormal. And, well, me being someone who loves doing whatever I can to get proof, I played with the Ouija by myself. Nothing super remarkable happened while playing with it, so I'd ended up just putting the board back in its case and in the closet. I eventually fall asleep watching some YouTube. I also sleep with the lights on due to some experiences I had while as a child. But anyway, while sleeping, I felt a tug on my legs, so I ended up waking up. And after looking around the room, I saw a large shadow humanoid entity standing by the wall next to my door. And on the floor was the Ouija board, as if it had been thrown haphazardly across the room. It terrified me so much I threw my pillow. It terrified me so much that I grabbed my pillow and threw my pillow at the shadow and watched it dissolve. And then picked up the board, put it back in its bag, grabbed some tape, basically taped the whole case closed so it wouldn't be able to take it out again without ripping the tape, and then buried it in a box of my clothes with junk. Yeah, that's probably the best bet you could ever do, and probably just get it out of your house, fella. Gigi, how are you? Happy New Year. Gigi. Living Waters, thank you for commenting. Appreciate that. David Allen, what's up, buddy? Ben YouTubing, how are you? All right. Let's start the party off with Ryu. How are you? Let's start this party off with a Lizzo story right now, my friends. Setting the scene. At the edge of I-80 lies Mile High Welcome Center, truck stop renowned less for its hospitality and more for its aura of mild chaos. Neon lights flickering above the parking lot where semi-trailers idled like sleeping dragons. But the real ruler of this kingdom of grease and grit was Lizzo, the lot lizard queen, a woman whose tongue was sharper than a dump truck's horn and reputation for running the prostitute syndicate with a mix of glitter and grit. Her boyfriend, Earl, a hulking trucker with the heart of gold and the brain of a sieve, traits that often collide in spectacularly awkward ways. Earl rolled into the truck stop late one night, his rig reeking of diesel and desperation. He'd scored a romantic little teddy bear from some gas station gimmick wall, hoping to impress Lizzo. It's cause you like a whole bunch of cuddly soft stuff, he mumbled, presenting the bear like it was a peace offering to the war god. Lizzo arched her eyebrow, her neon green nails tapping a rhythm of disdain. Darling, she purred, if you'd brought me a new convertible, this wouldn't have been the worst decision tonight. Unbeknownst to them, the teddy bear's button eyes glinted with a malevolent sheen. The Mile High Welcome Center had a secret beneath its parking lot, lie a sinkhole where a 1950s witchcraft cult had once buried a voodoo teddy for luck. Over the decades, the magic had warped, turning trinkets into terror. A disco ball once became a sentinel disco dancing demon. A vending machine spat out cursed nachos. And now this bear was waking up hungry. As Earl set the bear on Lizzo's trailer hitch, a makeshift throne for her reign, the air crackled. The bear screamed, the sound like a kazoo being murdered, and exploded into a 30-foot tall, stitched monstrosity. Its eyes glowed red, thread snaking like veins across its fuzzy body. You know, Lizzo deadpanned, as the bear gnawed at the payphone. I'd always wanted a boyfriend who would bring me demonic furniture. The bear roared, mistaking Earl's truck for a snack. Metal shrieked as it was bit clean through the cab, splitting up the driver's side like a chew toy. Lizzo grabbed her trusty iron scepter. Well, Rex, this ends now, she shouted as Earl fumbled with his CB radio, which the bear had promptly devoured. The bear charged, swiping a clawed paw at a row of RVs. Lizzo ducked beneath, shouting, Earl, get the glitter cannon, a modified paintball gun she used to control the crowd. Earl, mid scream, lobbed it at the bear's face. The bear sneezed, temporarily blinded by the sparkles. Classic, Lizzo sneered, as Earl lured it towards the grease pit. You're learning, lover. But the bear, now enraged, lashed out, impaling Earl's favorite hat on its claw. No, he wailed. That's vintage. Lizzo, ever resourceful, yanked out a Weldon torch from her utility belt and seared the bear's threaded arm, making it yelp like a deflated balloon. Realizing the bear's stuffing was its weakness, Lizzo formulated Plan B. Turn the demonic's own fluff against it. She herded the bear towards the laundromat, where it trampled a dozen dryers. Hold it right there, Oscar, that overstuffed, she barked. Earl hurled clothespins like shrunkins. The bear roared, but its movements grew sluggish. Hundreds of pins anchored into its fur. Lizzo leapt onto its back, a wild glint in her eye. You want to play stuffed? Let's get you stuffed. She drove a welding torch into its seams. The bear exploded into a hail of feathers, buttons, and existential dread. Silence fell. Lizzo and Earl sat amid the wreckage, half buried in a mountain of stuffing. A single teddy bear eye rolled past Earl's foot. Well, Lizzo said, brushing the fluff out of her hair, that was more than I wanted for a Friday night. Earl, clutching his mangled hat, grumbled, next time, let's just get pizza. As dawn broke, the truck stop's magic hummed, waiting for the next fool to test it. And Lizzo, ever the queen, smirked. Protection detail. She flickered the stray thread in Earl's face. And if you ever bring me another teddy bear, I'm charging you double. And so, under the neon lights, the mile-high welcome center hummed on, ready for the next trucker, trinket, or tragedy. Andy Davis, how are you, brother? How are you? OZ, it's just a subscription. It doesn't cost anything. You just subscribe to the channel and you're subscribed to the channel forever. RC, how are you? Jarrett Keith, what's up, buddy? Randy Man! Anybody seen Arabic tonight? Al Sparks, how are you, buddy? Thank you, Jarrett. Stormy Light, how are you? Earl is a badass. I'd like to do like just a story just on Earl. My dad's home, relaxing, sleeping in his own bed tonight. But thank you for asking, Randy. I appreciate you. All right. So this experience, was at the Conjuring House or around where the Conjuring House is. And when me and Isabel went there, we had some weird shit happen. I'll talk about it in a minute after. Oh, I like the complexity. Yes, it is, Jay. Tracy, thoughts? How are you? It's 11:24 here. 11:24. We got 36 minutes till the new year in upstate New York, baby. All right, here we go. So, myself and my friend TJ 2018 used to do a lot of cryptid slash ghost hunting, and especially because we are from Rhode Island, there is a lot of stories of areas with crazy history. An example is the woods a block from my house that has stone steps in the middle of it, completely out of the way from everything. Basically, long story short, the stairs went from an old church that had burnt down long ago. Rumor has it people died in that fire, and that's why the woods are haunted now. Myself and my friend saw some shit in those woods too. Different experience for a different time. But with that image in your head, now you can understand Rhode Island has a lot of paranormal activity. Now, back to the main story. TJ and I found out the Conjuring House is like a 20-minute drive from us, so we decided to check it out. It was about 2 a.m. when we started driving there. And a lot of weird shit started happening when we got to the first road to the way to the house. For reference to how creepy the area is, it was practically out in the middle of the sticks, barely any street lights, and lastly, the energy is the strangest. It felt like we were being watched the whole way to the house. When the GPS said we were about 3 minutes away from the house, TJ's radio started to glitch, repeating the chorus of RIP by Joji. Chorus, me and you and I would die for you, do or die, you for you, end your life for RIP. I would die for you, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna keep going. Um, when it came on, needless to say, that the vibe got a lot darker after that. When we actually arrived, we got there, not much happened until we were about to leave. The vibe was growing worse and longer we stayed. TJ heard something, so we left because the energy was getting different. As we were leaving, GPS quickly made us turn to a road different from the way we came. As soon as we were approaching the original entrance to the street of the Conjuring House, at the time we didn't think much of it because we were just trying to leave the area because the way it's making us feel. The road was a lot creepier than the others because of how it brought us directly to the middle of the woods. Even some parts were not paved, if I remember correctly, with really weird looking houses spaced apart. Well, as we are going down the road, I look down at my phone, and in a second, TJ starts punching my arm and yelling, "Look up, bro, look up. What is that?" As I look up, the strangest thing jumps across the road like 5 feet away from the car and into the woods at the speed of a cheetah. To give you guys a better idea of what it looked like, first of all, it was as tall as a kangaroo. And I mean the tall ones. It had to be at least 7 feet in height. Second, it was jumping in a medium sized jumps. Not sure what the word for that movement is, but quick, how a gear would work. That's how smooth and fast this thing's legs touched the ground, propelled forward and repeated. Like in 4 seconds, it took to drive the car to where it was in the road. It was like 100 feet away into the woods. Lastly, the most amazing but strange thing about it was its actual appearance. It looked like moving energy, a bunch of lines moving together in the shape of this animal looking thing. And its colors were crazy. The combination of neon brown, neon dark green, and neon orange, and some other less noticeable colors that sort of fill in the rest of its shape that it was taking. As we drove by, we freaked out, of course, and talked about it the whole ride home, trying to make sense of what we saw. We even tried to find the road we were on that night, 3 separate occasions after that, to see if we could maybe see it again, but we never found that road again. That night changed my life because I never thought I would see something like that so close, but since then, trying to find answers. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a blessed day. So, Brian Mons, what's up, buddy? Wolfmaster, how are you? Ricardo. So when me and Isabel went to the Conjuring house, um, the first strange thing that happened, I don't know about any of the roads he's talking about, but the road to get to the Conjuring house is weird. Like 1 minute you're in this little small quaint town, and the next second you're in the middle of the woods, and the houses are very spread apart, very largely spread apart. Um, and there's like where the Conjuring house sits, it sits kind of in this field off the road about 200 feet. So when you pull in, you just see this like house with woods all around it. We walked into the woods. We tried to find the cemetery first, but we couldn't find it. When we went for the night, when the owner had us sign our contracts and stuff, and she left for the evening, so it was just me and Isabel there. Um, is when we started to get really weird feelings. The strangest thing that, besides what we caught on film, and you guys can see on the video, but it was probably midnight, and we started to hear what sounded like gunfire in the woods. And I can't really, it almost sounded like, not like an AR-15 or a shotgun or a semi-automatic. It almost sounded like a bolt action, where there'd be a shot, time to reload, a shot, time to reload. Now, the King's Philip War was fought all through Rhode Island and parts of Massachusetts, probably where Brian Mons lives as well. And it is the most bloody war per capita that America has ever had. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons of the hauntings in that area. SDL, how are you? I'm in, Brian Mons. I'm in, buddy. You know I'm in. DB Mac, how are you, brother? Tigger's zonked off on the couch. He is zonked out like a light bulb. Tony Champy, how are you, buddy? Oh, thank you, not smoking, unless you're on fire. That's funny. Yeah, it was a fun time. The SD method was great. Bell really made it really great there. She put a, and really, she takes paranormal investigation um really seriously, even at her young age back then. She was 16 when we went, which was her choice. She did not have to go with me. She wanted to go. It was part of her. It was She wanted to go. I wanted to go as well, but I wasn't going to go if she didn't want to go. She wants to be a demonologist. That's what she wants to do for her job. So she's a very interesting kid, but she put a lot of positive vibes into the trip. Tigger is doing way better, way better. Thank you, Janie. Yes, I did agree. I emailed you right back, Delirium, and said I was gonna. No, but I'm definitely going to look into that APC service. Lieutenant Colonel SC testimonies. Definitely going to look into that. What's up, Neutrino? How are you, my friend? Happy New Year, Lisa. Happy New Year. We're going to be doing some more. We were talking about that actually. We were talking about where to go. You know what was really weird is I rented my daughter and her boyfriend a hotel room at the casino in Saratoga, so they could just go and gamble and hang out for Christmas. And when they got there, Isabel's afraid of elevators, so a security guard had to walk them around the building to let them into the stairwell. And one of the people that was at the front desk was waiting for, was doing something, but looked at Isabel and recognized her from the video. And they said, "Oh, you went to the Conjuring house. How did you like it? Was it fun?" And Belle thought that was like the coolest thing ever. She's like, "Someone recognized me." She's such a good shit, man. She really is a good kid. Yeah, she's truly amazing. All right, glitch in the Matrix experience. I'm not a huge believer in the glitch in the Matrix, although I have experienced some things that could go right along with that theory, but nothing concrete. Having said that, there is one incident that stuck with me since I was a kid. There is somewhat video evidence, but unfortunately, it doesn't show anything of importance, and I only bring it up because it has something to do with my experience. I've had many paranormal cryptid experiences. Story and this particular experience is the only one I can put in a glitch in the matrix category. But I don't even know if that's what it was. I'll try and keep this as short as possible, but with as much detail. I was about 8 or 9 years old and had put in with a piano teacher. And no, we were not rich. Her name was Miss Vicky. I don't know how long I was training with her, but at one point I was to perform a recital which took place at the local church. This all occurred in a very small town in Texas. And it was a beautiful Mayberry type of town. Everyone friendly and knew you, etc. On side note, this town is no longer pretty, and the recession in 2008 hit it hard, so now it looks like a rundown, pretty much apocalyptic, and that breaks my heart. Anyway, we're at this church, not the one my dad was a pastor at. Yes, I'm a PK. The church is packed full of people. All wanting to see their kids perform. Some children sang, some played instruments, and some did both. I was on the side stage in a little room with many other kids, all of us dressed like we were in a church service. I was nervous, knew nobody, and was pretty shy. Standing in line, I would watch the other kids perform and bow. The line was getting shorter. As it was getting closer to be my turn, about 4 kids away, I began wondering what we do after we perform. Like, where would we go? I start watching what the other kids did. I watched several of the kids bow to the audience and walk to the other side of the stage and enter a door in the back. I know for a fact I saw at least 3 people do that. So I knew that's where I go afterward. My turn comes with butterflies in my stomach. I walked on stage, sat in front of the piano, and performed the most basic Ode to Joy you had ever heard. When I was done, I faced the audience, bowed with an applause. I then walked to the other side of the stage where I saw the other kids go and open the door and saw something I did not expect. Over the years, I'd wonder if I stepped through another dimension. I saw something I was not supposed to see, or some strange glitch in the matrix, regardless of the reason. What I saw was not normal. This may be hard to believe, but trust me, it's hard for me to even talk about. And besides this point, besides sharing this, only my family and friends, and now my husband know. Standing in this small room, no larger than the average bedroom, with no other way out, stood what looked like an elephant, or at least what I thought it was an elephant. It was covered in strange kind of pustules. It was huge, and there was no way it could have gotten in there or out without a wall being broken down. That's not all I saw, though. There were two kids, one on the right standing on the floor, and the other on the left of the elephant, except that one was higher up, like he was standing on a ladder. I can't quite describe what the kids were wearing, but it was odd. Closest thing I can come up with is they looked like elves in the Disney Santa Claus movies, but that's not even right because both of these kids looked at me bewildered. They did not seem angry or upset, but they were just shocked to see me as I was them. That was when I realized that none of the kids I saw go into this room were there. I closed the door and was faced with the laughing audience of my unintentional. Afterward, I told my parents what I saw, but they seemed to brush it off as a wild imagination. Back to the video years later, at this time, I was in my mid 20s when DVD was a thing, but we all had our home videos VHS. My mother had found a recital video we had watched. I kept looking at the door. Even after these years later, I knew what lied beyond it. No one believed me. When I saw myself perform, I cringed at my hair and clothes, watching myself go to the door, open, and almost immediately close it. Turned around, my face was showing confusion and shock. It seemed like I had looked into the room a lot longer than a couple of seconds, but maybe time stood still or something, I don't know. I could hear my parents laughing behind the camera. The weirdest thing about the video, though, I saw none of the kids walk into the room like I had. I was in shock. There would be no other reason for me to go through that door. To this day, it remains one of my largest mysteries. And if sharing this, hopefully, maybe someone can tell me what I saw. An elephant with pustules and two strange dressed kids, one standing higher than the other. No idea. Oh. Josh Huffman, how are you? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, guys, though. God77, how are you? Happy New Year. Yeah, it's downstairs right now, Stormy. There's Tyler420. What's up, buddy? Looking forward to Monday. I hope you are. For everyone, me and Tyler are doing an interview next Monday. You guys will hear it on Tuesday. Maybe I'll bring it up and leave it up here for next week, Stormy. Oh, what the fuck is it? There it is. What's up, my friend? Oh. What's Cayman? Cappy? I know, we made it through another year. I beat you, Sonia. I beat you. Yeah, it sounds like a gator to me. That was fucking gross. I take high doses of vitamin D and K. Nanner, nanner, nanner. Oh, is it snowing still? Fuck my face. Cause $20 is $20. Look at that snow. Look at it, it's just dumping snow out. I will in a little bit, buddy. All right, let's welcome the new year in with. I'm glad that you're here, Gigi. All right, so another Lizzo story. How does it feel upstate, Jeff? I feel like shit, Neutrino. I'm sick. A whole onion and garlic cloves. I like medicine. I like when doctors prescribe you medicine. I'm like, let's do this shit. You know what sucks about this? Oh, Cynthia, thank you so much. You know what sucks about this is I am sick as a dog, and tomorrow I gotta wake up and snow blow my driveway and my parents' driveway, and I'm dreading it right now. Because when I wake up, I'm just like, don't like that shit. An oregano steam bath. I have these little pod things that I bought that I throw in my shower, and it makes it smell like oranges. I like that. 3 days rare. Yeah, it's Neutrino. Thank you. All right. Let's welcome in this new year with a Lizzo story, guys. We got one more after this, but we only got an hour left of the live, so. Craigers, thank you so much, buddy. Wow. The neon sign above Big Bob's Truck Stop Diner flickered like a drunkard's last blink at midnight. Inside, the air reeked of greased bourbon and the faint ozone tang of desperation. It was New Year's Eve, and Lizzo, the lot lizard queen, reigned supreme. Her crown, a bedazzled traffic cone with LED Christmas lights woven into the slats. Her court, a ragtag cliche of truck stop prostitutes. Her eyeliner smudged, but but their spite razor sharp. Josh, thank you so much. At the center of the chaos was Earl, her boy toy and part-time lover, a hulking trucker with a handlebar mustache and a permanent scowl that softened only when he looked at Lizzo. Another round of, well, tequilas, Earl? Lizzo slurred, clutching a half-eaten cheeseburger like a scepter. And tell the guys in the parking lot to stop jacking off their engines. They're going to wake up the real monster in this place. Earl barked a laugh, wiping bourbon from his lip. You're still the queen, Lizzo. Monsters fear you. Outside the parking lot, pulsed with honking semis and the thump of bass from a dodgy karaoke band. The lot lizards, Lizzo's prostitutes, danced on a rusted out picnic table, screaming Happy New Year. Every time a truck backfired, it was chaos. Hell, it was art. Then a rumble hit. It started as a low, tectonic groan. like the ground itself was constipated. The lights of the diner shuddered, the cheeseburger on Lizzo's plate levitated, and from the parking lot came a sound like 1,000 tires screeching in a hymn. Cooperative, thank you. Cooper Evans, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I just looked up quick. Cooper Evans, thank you so much. Everyone froze. Outside, a black 1977 Cadillac Eldorado glided in. Its chrome peeled like a scab. The door creaked open and a man stepped out. His form semi-transparent, his hair a matted afro that smelled like coconut oil and regret. He wore a velvet pantsuit that clung to his body, both skeletal and impossibly wide. "Is that Johnny Holmes?" whispered Tammy, a lot lizard with a penchant for sequence and sarcasm. The ghost smiled, revealing gums like a corpse. "The one and only, baby," he boomed, his voice cross between a megaphone and a deflated boom. "Looking for a date with the queen, no charge." Lizzo's eyeballs nearly popped into her hair. "Bitch, I don't do free," she snarled, brandishing her ketchup-smeared burger like a weapon. "I run this joint like it's my—" The ghost lunged, his spectral appendage a glowing serpentine thing that shimmered like an oil slick, slithered from the parking lot, coiled around the diner's support beams. The lot lizard screamed, slipping on grease and adrenaline as this thing grew, unspooling like a garden hose on steroids. It slithered across the parking lot, hissing, its tip splitting into a dozen tentacle-like appendages that snagged a soda machine and hurled it into a pickup truck. Earl grabbed Lizzo, yanking her behind the counter. "What the fuck is that?" "John Holmes, just as expressive," Lizzo said, her voice high-pitched and defiant. She pulled a switchblade from her cleavage, a gift from a one-night stand with a generous garbage truck driver, and charged forward. "And I don't tip." The battle began. John Holmes's wiener, now a pulsating, glowing serpent with teeth, lashed at Lizzo, who dodged with the agility of a woman who had sidestepped many a cheating boyfriend's. She slashed at it with the switchblade, but the blade bounced off like a butter knife hitting a bowling ball. The ghost laughed. The sound rattled like a stuck toilet. "You can't cut what's already dead, baby." Meanwhile, the diner filled with smoke. The tentacles from the commandeered fryer, deep frying a suspicious arrangement of napkins. Tammy hurled a lit lighter at the abomination, setting one of the appendages on fire. It hissed, melting into goo that smelled like burnt hair and disappointment. "Think, Lizzo, think," she muttered, dodging this whip-like appendage. Earl appeared beside her, holding a steak knife. "I got this, babe. You find a weakness." As Earl distracted the creature with a flurry of stabbing motions, it did nothing. Lizzo spotted the problem. John Holmes's head. The ghost was mid-shout, his jaw unhinged when she hurled her ketchup packet at its face. It burst, splattering this thing in vinegar and spice. He screamed, temporarily blinded. "Now what?" he roared. This time, "It's time for a priest," Lizzo hissed. From the back, a voice rang out. "I'll take it from here, my dear. Father Ron." The truck stop's part-time priest, full-time enigma, emerged from the staff hallway. A wiry man with a beard like a dandelion gone rogue. He wore a cassock over a Carhartt jumpsuit and carried holy water in a squirter. The truckers adored him, not just for his sermons, but for his legendary chili recipes and the ability to fix a broken AC with a prayer and some duct tape. "Beelzebub of Bakersfield, thou corporal corruption of cum," Father Ron boomed, squirting holy water onto that spectral serpent. It sizzled, shrinking by an inch. John Holmes howled. "You ain't welcome here, John," Ron said, stepping forward. This queen runs a charitable op. The cover charger hit the highway. The serpent Wiener lashed out, but Father Ron dodged, pulling the crucifix from his belt. In the name of St. Christopher and the DMV, I banish thee. Lizzo seized her moment. While John Holmes's head swiveled to the attack, Ron, distracted by his invalid parking ticket, she leapt onto the counter, switchblade high. You wanted a date? I'll give you a date. She plunged the blade into the base of the serpent, twisting. The creature screamed. The sound like 1,000 subwoofers blown out at once. It writhed into a greasy puddle at Lizzo's feet. John Holmes's ghostly form flickered, his pantsuit dissolving into a pair of boxers with leprechaun print. Father Ron pointed the crucifix. To hell with you, John Holmes, and charge it to 1977. The ghost let out a final wheeze. Happy! Before vanishing into a plume of sulfur and expired cologne. Silence. Then applause. The lot lizards, covered in soot and ketchup, erupted into cheers. Earl kissed Lizzo's forehead, and Ron handed her a napkin. For residual uncleanliness, he said. As dawn broke, the truck stop returned to normal. Well, as normal as a place where prostitutes ruled and a priest fixed ACs. Yo, Lizzo, Tammy said, holding up a charred tentacle as a souvenir. What's the story called again? Lizzo adjusted her traffic cone crown, smirking. The night I shook John Holmes' hand, and it shook me back. And somewhere in hell, a leprechaun boxing wearing ghost screamed about unpaid union dues. The end. Four more minutes. And if you don't know who John Holmes is, use Google. Turbo Christ, how are you? Not yet. We got 4 minutes, guys. 4 minutes. Thank you, Neutrino. T-4. I've never had no tentacle meat. Nope. Oh, I got one more Lizzo story for the night. My friends. Gotta get the old freaking Yiddish horn out. We're going to celebrate Eastern time. I don't think I have a short story to kill the time with. Oh, I do. All right, here we go. We got 3 minutes. This experience happened about 6 years ago. At the time, I was working in a restaurant and worked late hours. As I was the only one who drove and taxi fares were quite high, I would occasionally drop off a few of my colleagues on the way home. On this particular night, my journey took me through an industrial estate. This must have been around 1 to 2 a.m. It was completely deserted, and that's when I saw it. A creature stood in the middle of the road. It resembled some kind of canine, but was somewhere between 4 to 5 foot tall on all fours. It had pale skin or quite possibly very short, very light colored fur. It was like no creature I'd ever seen before, and still to this day, I don't know what it was. I've tried to research potential answers as to what it was, and the closest thing I could theorize would be some kind of shapeshifter or something. I'm in the United Kingdom and was unaware of these type of cryptids existing here. Would Lizzo cook a New Year's dinner? Hell no, Lizzo don't cook, Neutrino. Lizzo cook. Come on now. There he is! Aramik. How are you, my friend? My brother from a different mother. Building. 1 minute. 1 minute, guys. Let's count it down. Clock. World clock. Timer. 25. We got 35 seconds, 34 seconds. 23 seconds. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, Aramaic. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Happy 2026, my friends. $20.26, $20 says $20. No one tells. Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. Hell yeah. Kakalina, how are you? Ooh, I hear fireworks. 59th, how are you, my friend? Guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. This is awesome. Wesley, September. I started an hour ago. Jager, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. I got to shovel snow. I'm not doing it for a little while, though. I've got flu type A. Fuck that. Thank you, Craigers. All right, let's do some experiences. We got one more Lizzo story to end the night with. My wife and I were driving down a very windy road at about 10 p.m. after dropping her friend off. It's a very wooded area and properties are spread pretty far apart. This happened during full moon in early February. It was very dark and secluded up here, but there was the moonlight. While approaching the sharpest turn in the road, I began slowing down to approach the almost 180-degree turn in the road. There are no homes nearby, just a gate entrance to someone's unkept wooded property. I noticed while talking to my wife something moving across the road up ahead where the turn was about to be made. My first thought was it was dust from a car that had just made the turn ahead of us, but that made no sense because we were the only ones on this road and again back down. What I saw was upwards to 20 feet, possibly even 30 feet tall, very skinny, and had kind of a bronzed luminescent of its own. I thought it was dust in my headlights ahead, but it formed into a massively tall, slender, almost oval shape as it passed over the road. And as it got to the roadside, it entered the tree line, heading up into the mountainside. I realized a very large, skinny leg stepped forth from the shape and stepped into the woods. It almost looked like golden smoke, but with a certain shape and density to it. Needless to say, as soon as I realized I was witnessing something very unnatural or supernatural, I started to say, "Did you see that?" And my wife cut me off, saying, "You saw it too?" All the hairs on my body stood on end, and I could feel a charge in the air of intense energy. With the windows up and the heater on, I became very afraid and kept driving down the mountain because I knew we had both just witnessed something we probably shouldn't have. I pulled off the road about a half a mile away to discuss specifically what we had seen. Our description matched to a T. I had a very negative paranormal experience as a teenager, so when she demanded we go back, I was hesitant. But finally, curiosity got the best of me, and we returned to the place we saw this thing. I am still not sure if what I saw was a cryptid or an alien of some type, maybe a spirit, but I can say it was inhuman, and its sheer size made it very frightening. I parked in the road with my headlights shining up the hillside in the direction it was traveling, but nothing was there. We stood in the dark for about 15 minutes with the truck off, snapping photos and videos, but captured nothing unusual. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you. Mr. Shackleneck, Happy New Year's, and thank you, my friend. Happy New Year's, my brother. Oh. Jane's here. Janie's here. I love you, big Shackleneck. Oh my god. I don't have any tissues in here either. Fuck. Oh. For some context, I live in a somewhat suburban neighborhood in West Texas. It was about 2 a.m. when this happened. I was outside in my front yard with my dogs to let them out. There are three of them, and I can see all three. One to my left and the other two dead center in front of me. To my right is my car, a crossover type, in our driveway. As I am scanning our yard, I see to my far right what looks like some sort of mid-sized animal. It was about the size of a medium-sized dog, but had the physique of a cat or a very skinny dog. It was walking on all fours, but not like a dog or a cat would, more like a monkey. Front legs had very long, skinny fingers, and it walked on the tips of them. Back legs were more like a person walks on all fours instead of hands and knees. They were on the toes, and their hips were high in the air. It was white in color, and the highlights of it were so white it almost glowing, and the shadows were more of a translucent gray white color. The weirdest part was its face. It was almost human like. Small head, forward facing eyes, but its mouth was kind of hanging open with some gnarly teeth. And from what I could see, no ears. It did not have a tail. It was walking toward me, but by the time I looked at its face on it, it had disappeared behind my car. And when I went to the other side of my car where it was and would have been, there was nothing there. Does anyone have an idea of what this was? Some sort of cryptid, fairy, ghost, alien? I honestly don't know. It gave me the chills. I didn't stick around, of course. I hurried my dogs inside as soon as they started to seem interested in what I was investigating. You saw a crawler, my friend. You saw a crawler. Thank you, Shackleneck. I love you, brother. Tamiflu. I have to get better soon. We got a live stream coming up. So I can. I will try anything. Yeah, I might. It's rough. Like tomorrow morning will be just worse because I woke up yesterday morning, not this morning, but yesterday morning, and it was just like my voice sounded so bad. Oh, I got nasal spray. I got nasal spray. My doctor prescribed me some. Oh, raw onion garlic. Cryptic Knights, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Ugh. All right, here we go. My grandmother's property is settled all the way back in the woods at the end of a very long unpaved road. Along with being comically bumpy, it also has a history of hauntings that were passed between family members over the years. I myself was somewhat skeptical of these tales, not because I'm not a believer of the paranormal, but because my uncle and dad have a habit of being overactive imaginations and telling crazy stories. Until one night about a year ago. Back then, I lived with my grandmother down at the end of that road, and at the time, I also didn't own a car. As such, my boyfriend had to walk to my house from the entrance of the road since his parents didn't want him to risk damaging his vehicle on the aforementioned bumpy road. Now, mind you, this road is a good 20-minute walk from beginning to end, completely overgrown with brush and trees, and has a puddle every other step. So more often than not, I'd meet him halfway and then walk him back to the entrance once he went home. That night, we were walking back to the entrance. I decided to tell him about the property's haunted history. From the silver buried on four corners of the property to appease a supposed spirit to the knocking on the counters at night. I spilled every tale I had ever heard. Now, unlike me, he is very genuinely afraid of tales, as he himself had once had an experience very similar, albeit much more terrifying, to the one I was about ready to have. He warned me not to do one thing: do not whistle in the woods at night. Now a thing to know about me, I'm a habitual whistler, and I tend to do it without thinking. So, of course, on my way back, I began to sing a tune. That particular night, it was unusually bright outside for being late. The sky was still a dull blue, and there was hardly a shadow despite it being well past 8:30. I had gotten to the quarter mark of the road and almost gateway of brush on the small ridge going further into the road when I heard something yell. A yell that very distinctly sounded like an old man. Later, once I got home, I had realized there was a word in that yell: help. At the time, I didn't think much of it, which, yes, was especially dumb of me. I'd love to pull out every excuse under the sun, but I was evidently feeling very stupid that night. Now that I am, now that I had time to think about it, I noticed two things. One, there is no possible way there could have been an elderly man on or near the road. My grandma is the only person that lives on that end of the road. Second, as I mentioned, was the word in the yell help. My boyfriend, after hearing this experience, said that it was meant to be a lure for what? Me, death, all that fun stuff. As I walked, I got to the halfway mark of the road, a field of dead yellow grass and a single fallen tree on the left hand side of the road. I had seen it hundreds of times before, and every time I thought, why is that tree still here? As I took my curiosity look at the tree, I noticed something, someone. It To this day, I don't understand what I saw. It was not a cryptid, not a monster, nor a demon. Standing a good 30 feet away from the tree, honest to God, and what I can only describe as it was a sheet ghost, a simple rounded pillar of white, nearly 8 feet in height, and still as the tree before it. It stood there, and it saw me. I know it did. It didn't seem to have any eyes or any face, but it did. I had never truly known fear before that night. I froze in place and felt like a mouse beneath a cat's paw, caught helpless. Faster than I could blink, it ducked behind the tree and stayed there, 30 feet traversed in a second. Once it was behind the tree, it stayed there, and I could move it again. The sensible among you probably think I ran. I didn't. I didn't want to get this thing's attention. 10 minutes of absolute silence and paranoia as I walked home, utterly terrified. I finally got home and sat at my grandma on her little couch, her smoking her cigarette. You look like you seen a ghost, my grandma said. I did, indeed. Faith, have a nice night. My set schedule for live streams is every Saturday at midnight. This is only because New Year's that I did this. No, not 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sonia. 12 p.m. You're good. I'm gonna try to push it. Got raided the other day. Police said they were dealing drugs there. Customer over signal. I had no idea they cut air. Arabic. I'm gonna try to. I should be able to do a live stream. I'm hoping to feel great. I will push it anyway. I mean, I push this and I literally feel like I'm dying. All right, this encounter comes to us from Tina Marie. How are you? Kathy Hayes. This is the best channel ever. Thank you, Randy man. Thank you. This experience comes to us from Germany. Yesterday night, I was walking my dog. He's a guard dog, but he's chill with people outside of the home. He loves other animals, especially horses. He only barks at home. Our usual route is next to a field across from the street leading out of town. Across that is another field, then woods. My dog suddenly stops and won't follow me anymore, staring off into the field. I make him walk a few steps. He stops and stares, huffs. Never heard him do that before. Repeat until field and our path are no longer in sight. First time I caught him doing it, I turned my phone flashlight a few seconds for a quick scan across the field. After I noticed that he wouldn't stop staring, I examined the field more carefully this time, and my light caught something reflective in the distance. It looked like two big eyes staring at us down from away across the field by the road. Connecting to them was this white slash light colored mound. Basically, imagine a white cat that's on the prowl, low on the ground, staring intently. Now, make that cat about the size of a pickup truck, bigger than a European car. I didn't see exact shape, nor a tail, or any features for that matter. That's just a general description that fits the closest size. A car drove down and confirmed the reflections weren't from reflectors on a pole by the side of the road. It was definitely on the far side of the field, and it was huge. I went to that spot this morning. I did not find any tracks. There was too much mowed grass flattened down by the tractors. This night, I took a night vision camera and another backup flashlight. I could not reproduce what I saw. Now I am begging for any kind of suggestion on what it was. We don't have bear, let alone albino ones. It was a runaway horse or a cow. Why would it lay down right there next to the road in the middle of the night with no herd members? Why would my dog be concerned when he loves horses? I could not find any cryptids or entities that matched this description. Any ideas what the hell I saw? What's up, cat lady? How are you? Happy New Year. Happy 2026, my friends. 2026. I'm going to be 50 this year. Holy shit. I'm going to be old, shrivelly, wrinkled. Oh. Dude, that was weird. There was a weird noise. Like, I can't explain what it was. Interview on the gentleman. It's better than the current open the window. He's on Dogman in the yard. Vaguely. Vaguely. I'm still a pup. uh, I am quitting. I'm quitting vaping this year. My whatever New Year's resolutions is to quit vaping and go to the gym. No, it wasn't Tigger, Arabic. Tigger's laying in my bed sleeping. He's out like a light. Right behind you. Stranger Things is basically a soft disclosure on the Montauk program or on the Montauk project. Basically, that's what it is. Guys, you gotta give me 1 second. I gotta whiz real quick. We got 40 minutes, and I'm not gonna be able to hold a whiz. Give me a second, guys. Here I come. Here I come. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting. There was no way I was gonna wait. Oh man. Steve Masterclass, how are you? Oh. Nah, I wasn't pissing outside. I love Coca-Cola too. There he is. What's up, Mr. Haunted? Jimmy! Jimmy! You always got to wash your hands. People who don't wash their hands after peeing is gross. Once in a while, when I'm not at a sink and I have to pee outside, if I can't wash them, I just lick them. Ew, that's so gross. Ew. Imagine. That's so fucking gross. All right. I've had a lot of experiences that I consider to be paranormal ones, but the fouling ones stand out to me. When I was a young child, between 3 to 8, I would get terrible nightmares about a greenish figure that would attempt to kill me. Now, that may seem like any child's imagination running wild, and may come off as cliche. I thought so too, until I tied in my future experiences to my dreams. My first experience with paranormal figure happened when I was 8 at my mom's house. I woke up in the middle of the night for some reason, and I turned to my right to look around my room as my bed was pressed against the wall to the left. That's when I saw something sitting in the chair next to me. It was 6 to 7 feet tall and had a large head. It also had no other discernible features. Terrified and thinking that I was still asleep, I tried to close my eyes in hope that I would wake up. I opened my eyes again and looked toward the chair, and the figure was still there. And I saw that it was looking me over. By this point, I was paralyzed in fear. And as I now know, that this was not a dream. I must have passed out then because I don't remember what happened next. When I awoke, there was nobody next to my bed. Second incident happened at my dad's house. I was just about to nod off to sleep when I turned to my right to get into a comfortable position once again. The wall I was looking at is illuminated by my nightlight, which also showed three figures in front of it. One was tall, one was small, and the other was in between. And they all had either horns or long sideways pointing ears. I couldn't tell the difference at this point. I screamed at that point, which woke my dad up and caused him to run into my room. I knew I wasn't dreaming then because I watched as the figures disappeared as soon as my dad entered. I like to believe that those were simply childhood hallucinations, but I am beginning to doubt due to the validity of those figures. Those events also occurred within a week of each other, so I am left wondering if they are connected or not. I only had one thing that could be considered night terrors or sleep paralysis, and I was like 30 when that happened. Maybe a little older, like 36 or something. Time is it? 12:30. Oh God, I'm so tired. Eat. Ooh, this one's weird. This one's weird, guys. It's titled "I Heard Death." Crawler type cryptid. Probably like a crawler. I would consider it a crawler. I would still consider it a crawler, John. Thank you, Tina Marie. I know it doesn't, and I literally after this live stream ends, I'm going to bed. I can't do anymore. I'm so beat. I would say a crawler, John Sumner. I literally this week when I was doing the deep dives into like the super soldier programs and government uh, programs, I really found it interesting to make that connection with the China Lake Navy base. And in the live stream last week, we were talking about it. I think it was Damage, if I'm not mistaken, had mentioned how they can move submarines from one place to the other from the China Lake, and they distinctly talk about these tunnels that are under there. But my whole thing is the missing children that go from China Lake Naval Base and then disappear. And I believe that there is a deep underground facility there, and the alien race, the alien slash demon race, either the Gray or the Draco, both are performing genetic mutation on children that are kidnapped, and women, of course, and men. But I think that's these crawlers that people are seeing. Yep, that was gross, and I had to blow my nose. I'll wash that later. Oh. Thank you, Randy, man. Do I think fireworks scare dogmen? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Tijuana border jumper. I'm getting somebody. I'm gonna get some tomorrow. I don't think that 59. I don't know because I don't think they are afraid of too much. I mean, they've heard gunshots before. They're already hidden. You know what I mean? Nick Carroll, how are you, buddy? That I did this week. It's MI6 CIA stuff. All week I did talks about it, and Michael Prince, aka James Caspel, talked about it, and it was pretty fucking interesting. I got to get him on here. All right, so this one's weird. This one's weird. It's called I Heard Death. I heard death today and it scared me shitless. I work at a nursing home in a graveyard shift, basically 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Today I was working and doing my rounds and I heard this sound, but it's windy, so we tried to write it off as nothing. However, in the next room, we could hear it clearly as a low growling. The sound was unmistakable. I used my keys to unlock the room next door. It's a vacant room, and you could hear it faintly. I stand in there quietly with my coworkers trying to reason what this noise is. There is no tree rubbing against the window, and it's not the wind howling. We head downstairs so we can see the courtyard clearly, and there's nothing in sight, just the wind. But then we hear banging. Someone questions if it's the pipes. We stand there for what was about 30 seconds, hearing stomping upstairs above us. All four of us are downstairs. There should be no one walking around. It's 1 a.m. Everyone is sleeping. We rush upstairs to investigate because what if a resident that was confused was wandering around? However, the halls are empty. We checked the rooms of where the stomping was heard, but the resident in each of the rooms were sound asleep. We stand around in a circle before agreeing to split up and walk the halls to see if we can find something. We meet back to the center and there was no one there still. We are talking amongst ourselves and it hits one of us. What if that was death? It hits us and we all rush to the room of the most critical patient. We turn on the light and approach her bed, and she's there unmoving. It takes a moment for us all to tell, but we see that she's not breathing. What we heard truly was the sound nowhere near the sounds that we heard. I'm I'm on break typing this out right now as I am still shaking. Damn. Jimmy, what do you think of that? Mr. Haunted. I hope you heard that. What do you think about that? You working with the Warrens, you being the paranormal expert or investigator. Do you think you could hear death? Do you think death really makes a sound? Like, I mean, not the gurgle, but what's up, Jesse? Good. How are you, dear? Project coordinator, how are you? You don't rent a dog, man. Or you could listen to a creepy pasta and they'll probably tell you how. Eric doesn't know. Listen, I was getting another coffee. So they heard this growling noise. Re-listen to it tonight, or later. Shelby, how are you? Happy New Year. To me, death seems like it would be loud. No, it was a growl, not a gurgle. Oh, all right. Craigers, thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much. You're too kind. You guys are too kind tonight. Thank you. Oh, the plow is coming by. God dang, look at it snow. Look at that shit. Oh, $20 is $20. Doesn't matter if you're not gay. $20 is $20. Just don't tell anyone. Imagine if there's a drunk guy walking down the road and he hears that. He's knocking at my door. And he's like making it rain. I'll let you in, Mick. Last Lizzo story of the night, guys. Last Lizzo story of the night. Here we go. Oh, shit. All right. And we got We got a few more encounters before we end the live stream. So we'll do this one, and then we'll... Truck stop myth has a way of blooming in the Dust Bowl of America's highway. In the middle of nowhere, where the neon signs flicker like dying fireflies, there is a place, the Crossroads Diner. It's a sort of joint that has a cracked linoleum floor, a jukebox that only knows how to play a broken version of Folsom Prison Blues, and a rotating cast of characters who come and go with the diesel fumes. The most infamous of those characters is a lanky, glitter-clad woman who calls herself Lizzo, the self-crowned lot lizard queen, who runs a small empire of truck stop prostitution, a legion of girls of the night, who knows how to keep a rig driver's eyes on the road and their wallets on the table. Lizzo's kingdom is ruled with a mixture of lipstick, sarcasm, and a battered Ouija board that she keeps in a locked metal cabinet behind the pantry. She is a legend because she never lets anyone forget the one rule of the lot. If you're not high, you're not welcome. That rule is about to be tested in a way no one at the Crossroads could ever imagine. Pimpmobile rolls in. The night was already thick with a smell of fried onion, diesel, when a distant rumble, an engine broke through the din. The sound was not the low, polite rumbling of a 24-hour rig, but a low grumble and hiss of a classic 1969 Cadillac. Tail fins glinted in the neon, and the chrome grille looked like a grin of a mischievous devil. A moment later, the car, proudly painted Pimp Mobile in dripping gold script, crashed through the parking lot, sending a cascade of loose gravel onto the cracked concrete. Door swung open in a theatrical sigh, and out stepped a man who looked like a cross between a legend and a grandpa. He wore a velvet tracksuit, a gold chain that might have been a necklace of actual gold, and a pair of sunglasses that refused to be removed even in the darkness. Yo, yo, what's crack-a-lackin'? He shouted, his voice resonating like a bass line in a club. The other patrons, Earl Boy Toy McAllister, a trucker with a tattoo of a heart on his bicep and a taste for the finer things, like a perfectly cooked ribeye, Marjorie, a waitress who had a side hustle selling moonshine lemonade, and Dusty, the dishwasher who still believed he could win the national championship of competitive origami, took a step back. Their eyes widened as they recognized the silhouette of Snoop Dogg, legendary rapper turned apparently a pimp with a Cadillac that cost more than the entire life savings. Snoop hopped out of the driver's seat, pulled out a massive duffel bag with a flourish, dumped its contents on the hood. Pounds of sticky, fragrant weed that seemed to emit a soft, pulsating glow under the neon light. Yo, I'm here to bless the night, yo, dig? I'm newly ordained minister now, so you ain't just getting high, you're getting holier than high, he declared, holding a bottle of holy water that looked suspiciously like a bottle of high-proof whiskey. A chorus of whoa rose from the gathered crowd. Daddy, Lizzo yelled out, half laughing, half shivering. She never told anyone that Snoop was her father. He'd disappeared from her life when she was a teen, chased by rumors and endless roar of engines, yet here he was. His presence like a low-frequency rumble that set the whole diner's. That duffel bag was opened, and Snoop, with practiced ease, rolled a joint the size of a small flagpole. He lit it with a silver lighter that had pasture etched into the side, then began to drag the flame around the tip, and an orange glow caught the eyes of everyone within a radius of 20 feet. Pass it around, y'all, Snoop said. We're going to get lit to the heavens, and then we're going to talk about some real soul. Earl, who had just finished a 12-hour haul from Houston to Seattle, took the joint with a grin that could have stopped traffic. I'm all about highway life, he said, inhaling deeply. The smoke curled around his face like a foghorn. Marjorie tipped the bottle of holy water that tasted oddly sweet and warm into a mug and passed it to Dusty, who was still wiping down the sink. You ever seen a dishwasher become a priest? He muttered, half eyes closed. One by one, the motley crew, Lizzo, Earl, Marjorie, and Dusty, and even the two truck stop girls who had been waiting for a client in the back corner, took a hit. Within minutes, the air thickened with a sweet, piney haze, and the world seemed to slouch a little, as if the neon signs had began to sway a rhythm. Lizzo, feeling a surreal mix of familial pride and the lingering aftertaste of childhood longing, felt an urge she hadn't felt since before her days as the lot lizard queen. Her eyes landed on a locked metal cabinet behind the pantry. The cabinet door rattled as she fumbled with the lock, her hand trembling, half from weed, half from the thrill of the moment. She opened that cabinet door, exposing the Ouija board, a battered plywood piece, the letters worn, and the planchette, a cracked bottle cap. She brushed off the dust with a trembling finger and placed it on a table. Yo, Daddy, she said, her voice low and reverent. You sure we should call on the spirits? Snoop, eyes half closed, grinned. When you're a minister, you gotta bless the demons too. Let's see how holy they can be. He placed a hand and began to chant a low hum, rhythmic beat, mixing with a modern rap cadence of an old school ghost calling chant. The night at the crossroads was now a strange blend of divine and profane. Earl, who had never been shy about anything, especially a good story, joined in, his deep voice echoing off the greasy walls. Spirit of the night, we call to you. Come and join our crew. The planchette began to move, initially slow, just a tiny wobble. Then a swift, decisive jolt slid across the board, spelling out Z-O-Z-O. The letters glowed as if lit from within. Cold wind swept through the diner, snuffing out a few of the neon signs, while flickering fluorescent light buzzed louder like an angry bee. The smell of weed turned sour, and an unseen presence began to press against the walls. Yo, we got a demon here, Marjorie whispered, clutching her mug of holy water like a talisman. The planchette jumped again, shaking with frantic energy, and it spelled Hello. A low, guttural chuckle echoed, reverberating through the metal booths. The shadows deepened into a form that hovered just above the table, a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes twin pits of molten embers. Zozo, a voice rasped. You have summoned me. For a heartbeat, the laughter in Snoop's eyes turned to solemn priest-like seriousness. He lifted the bottle of holy water and, with a flourish that would have made a magician jealous, poured a generous splash onto the board. The water sizzled where it touched the wood, steamed like an incense. All right, Zozo, you're about to get a one-way ticket back to the underworld, Snoop said, his voice a mixture of swagger and conviction. Because I'm a minister now, blessed by the Almighty and the OG of the streets. This ain't no ordinary exorcism. This is Snoop's holy high. He began to chant that combined biblical verse with his signature drop it like it's hot cadence. The words slap in the air like a drum beat. The planchette, now soaked in holy water, quivered, then shot backward, spelling out goodbye in large, trembling letters. The demon hissed, a sound like a broken radio transmission. Transmission. You think a bottle of water can... Yo, you think a bottle of water can defeat a real man from the West Coast? Nah, you're about to get baptized in the most legendary way possible. Snoop's laugh rang out, reverberating through the diner, mixing with a lingering beat of the invisible 808. The flash of light erupted from the board, bright enough to make the diner's flickering sign glow steady. The demon's form convulsed, shrank, and then poof, was sucked back into the board, which snapped shut like a wooden thud. The girls, who had been watching from the back, giggled, nodding in agreement. They had always known the real danger of lot lizard life was not the police, nor the broken hearts of truck drivers, but the occasional misfired supernatural invitation. Now they're safe. Soon the night gave way to dawn. The first rays of sunrise filtered through the cracked windows, painting the greasy floor with a golden hue. The Cadillac's engine revved low as if a goodbye hum. Snoop slipped back into the driver's seat, placed one final hand over the Ouija board, a protective thumb, as any priest would do with a relic, and closed the lid with a satisfying click. Remember, he said, if you ever hear a whisper in the night, just call on the holy water in your mom's secret stash of weed. That's the holy trinity of the crossroads. He leaned forward, his eyes locked on Lizzo's. You got a bright future, kid. Keep ruling the lot. Keep your heart high, and when you get a chance, maybe let an old man sit at your table sometime. Lizzo smirked, pulling a bright pink lipstick from her bag and tracing a line across her cheek. Sure thing, Daddy. Just don't get any more of those demons to the house. I got enough high to manage. Snoop laughed, turning the key to the Cadillac, and it roared. The car's headlights cut a path through the desert, disappearing into the horizon like a legend in motion. The crossroad diner settled back into an ordinary rhythm. Clatter of pots, a sizzle of grease, the low murmurs of truckers swapping stories. But every now and again, when the night grew heavy and the neon buzz, the faint scent of weed and holy water would drift through the air, reminding everyone that the line between the mundane and the mystical is just a single puff away. And somewhere down the highway, a young woman with glitter on her cheek would look up at the stars, grin, and whisper, Daddy, you're the best dressed demon buster I've ever had. The end. Thank you, Key West. Thank you, Aramik. Good night, Conscious Wanderer. Oh, God. Danny Marie, Happy New Year. Thank you, Janie. So I want your opinion on something that happened to me 20 years ago. My buddy and I parked on a Forest Service road and went hiking into the woods. We're not far from the main highway, so you could constantly hear cars passing by. We were within earshot of the road the entire time, which is important. It was a partly cloudy day, and the forest was alive with birds, insects, and various other nature sounds. We came up to a creek, and I walked across the log. My buddy stayed on the other side. The second I crossed the stream, all sound stopped instantly. I couldn't even hear the sounds of the forest, the creek, nothing. Not even the passing cars that were a constant due to our location. It was as if all sound stopped instantly. I got an overwhelming feeling of dread and pure terror. I got goosebumps, and the hair on my back of my neck stood straight on end. I instantly felt cold and went on high alert. I yelled at my buddy, who was only 20 feet away from me, but on the other side of the creek. He couldn't hear me, and the only sound I could hear was my own voice echoing through the forest. I quickly ran back to the log and crossed it. All sound instantly came back, and I asked my buddy why he didn't hear me yelling. He said I never heard a word. No, I never said a word. So to prove my point, I crossed the log again, and the exact same thing happened. All sound stopped, and I instantly was filled with dread again and knew I was in danger. This time I crossed the log, grabbing my buddy, and said, to hell with this place. We get to the car and left. I've not had the courage to go back to that place since. Thank you. Glitch. I think you walked through a glitch right there. What's up, Eli, buddy? How are you? Happy New Year, Eli. Boobs will save the world. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm willing to take a look. Mammy, I haven't seen you since last year either. That's funny. Either a glitch or a portal. I don't think it was a portal, Walter. The reason why is because he could still see everything from the other side. So I think he kind of like stepped into like a glitch, like where all. I mean, if he didn't see his friend, then I'd be leaning toward a portal. But it could be, you know. I've never been in a portal, so I don't know. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I already did, Doyle. All right. My paranormal encounter happened when I was 13 to 14 at religious camp. Even now, whenever I share this experience in real life, I still get full body chills, even in 90-degree weather. My friends and I, there were 4 of us, were playing hide and seek tag at around 9:30 p.m. We were walking to a starting area when we noticed someone peeking their head above one of those big metal construction dumpsters. Curious, we decided to check it out. We split up to surround the dumpster from both sides, planning to trap whoever it was. As we reached the sides, one of us whistled to signal the others to move in, but when we rounded that last corner, no one was there. We even checked inside the dumpster, but it was empty. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a humanoid creature running down the hill on 2 legs, looking about 6 feet plus tall, or minus towards our another campsite, about 300 feet away. Being the young teenagers that we were, we obviously chased it. As we slowed down near the campsite, which was in a wooded area, something even more unsettling happened. Just about 10 feet from us, a face darker than sin itself. It was gray, but dark, really hard to explain it, then peeked out from behind a tree. I don't remember exactly what happened next, but suddenly we were all hiding behind the biggest kid in our group. Instinctually, he pulled out a pocket knife as if that was going to help. The face disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. We were all terrified. The tree it had been peeking from was about a half a foot in diameter. There is no way someone could have hidden behind it. A second later, the face appeared again. From no way it walked to it because the small tree was literally 10 feet away from us. Then it appeared in a different tree about 30 feet away. The way of its exact movement was as it ran or hovered. I can't explain it. The movement was extremely inhuman to a small tree and disappeared. We were frozen in fear. We eventually made our way back to the large building where we had our religious meetings. As I tried to explain what happened, I was shaking uncomfortably, not like little vibrations. I am talking about full body shake. I found that I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak. My vocal cords just wouldn't work. I would open my mouth to talk and nothing would come out. Just like those dreams you have when you're trying to scream and nothing happens. After we told the older kid, upper teens to 20s, what happened, he and his buddies somehow convinced us to go back and recount the story in more detail. He separated us into different locations, and we all told the same exact story. Yet he still had his doubts. By this point, I was still terrified. My voice was barely audible, and I was visibly shaking. As we were walking back, he suddenly saw it too and became absolutely terrified. This reignited my fear as well. We hurried back inside where the adults told me my face was so pale
I looked dead. Other people have had similar experiences at this location as well throughout the years. I'll answer some of the questions that maybe you guys would have. Did I imagine it, or could it have been an animal? The biggest thing is all four of us to this day have the same exact story and account. Its face looked gray and really dark. Is it really hard to explain? Long looks skinny, whatever that means. All right, last encounter of the night, and then I got to crash. Oh, it's long too. Fuck me. Oh, I got it. My throat hurts like a son of a bitch, though. Oh. There are a few warnings I want to get out of the way before I share this experience. First, there are mentions of unaliving. I don't go into detail just out of respect for the individual involved and their family. Second, I will also be talking about depression and anxiety. This experience is extremely dark, but also terrifying. I have never had something like this happen again, thank goodness. To begin, I need to tell you exactly what a white-eyed child is. There is not a lot of information about them, but from the research I have done, they are messengers of death. Another name for them is angel of death. A lot of elderly people tend to see them right before they die. It is also said that if you see one, it means either you or someone you know is about to pass. At that time of the sighting, I had no knowledge about these children or their meanings. I didn't correct or connect the dots until much later on, the dots being seeing a child and then the death that followed. A little backstory. I got a job at this retirement home after I had to move out of my parents' house at the age of 18. Finding employment was proving difficult, so my best friend's mom did me a solid and got me a job at the place she worked. The building was old. It was formerly a train station before it was converted into a retirement home. Since it was where many since it was where many people lived for the remainder of their lives, there were a lot of deaths there over the years, which meant there were shadow figures. I remember asking my coworkers about them, and she said it wasn't uncommon to spot one out of the corner of your eye. She told me not to worry about it. They were harmless. There was about the extent of my paranormal activity that I had encountered. However, while working there, I had some severe anxiety, something I had never suffered from before. It probably didn't help that the environment was pretty toxic. The boss was a sexist, and the kitchen was filled with middle aged women with nothing better to do than gossip. Now, it wasn't my first time working in a less than ideal place, but at my old job, which was just so happened to be Walmart, I never felt anxiety like this. It was always dread. I actually had no first anxiety. I actually had my first anxiety attack working at the retirement home. It was scary and out of the blue, probably one of the worst experiences of my life. And I've never had anxiety again like that after I left. Anyway, the day I saw the white eyed child was just a regular work day. I worked as a dishwasher, but I also helped prep, mainly peeling potatoes and helping with other little things. So I was on my way to the pantry to grab something when this little girl popped out in front of me. It startled me so badly that I stopped dead in my tracks, half expecting to mow a little girl down. But she was gone just as soon as she appeared. I remember glancing around the kitchen, seeing if my other coworkers spotted the little girl, but they were all carrying on with their own tasks as if nothing had happened. I recall some of her details. She wore a white olden day dress, blonde pigtails, a white nightcap, white eyes. I've only seen her for a millisecond, but I'll never forget her eyes. They had no irises or pupils. To describe the dish pit, it is the shape of a U. Besides my workstation was a door that led out of the dining room. The door had a small window, important to the story. These large windows are in the building. It was around 2 p.m. when I spotted red and blue flashing lights in the window. My coworker came shortly with tears. I asked her what happened. I asked her what was wrong. She informed me that a resident had just taken their life. For some reason, I decided to walk out of the kitchen and see the entire street filled with fire trucks, ambulances, and police. Again, I won't go into detail, but it was horrible. I knew the resident was. They were kind. They were caring. They were a wonderful human being. Their passing weighed heavily on all of us, making working at the place even more harder. I'm unsure how to describe the next part, but the atmosphere felt heavy, not sad, but evil. I know that sounds insane, but it was like on top of being sad at our friend, I was also like something had taken up residence in the building. It was feeding off of misery. Done. I am beat, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, shit. All right. Happy New Year. Thank you for hanging out with me. Happy New Year. I can subscribe and like it. Ronald, that's all I ask, my friend, is that you subscribe and like. That's all that matters. I don't, but thank you. And that's pretty shitty of that company letting you go. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me on this new year. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. That's what I'm probably gonna have some chicken soup and some saltines before I go to bed. Tyler, you can share what you want, brother. It's your night. Gigi, have a good night. It was beautiful seeing you tonight. Sonia, great seeing you. Janie, I love you. Guys, happy new year. And I pulled it off. I can't I'm so proud of myself for actually being able to do it. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. The next test will be Saturday, but we'll get through that too. All right. Eli, have a good night. Happy New Year. Nexus. Everybody, have a wonderful night. Stay safe tomorrow. Enjoy your day. Love you.